Hi.
Hi, I'm Nikki Rich of the Nikki Rich Show. So honored to be here with you. I want to first start off by saying the documentary, Who is Stan Smith, was a masterpiece. Amazing. It was so amazing. And what I want to know is what was your drive to want to produce this film and be a part of it?
Thank you, Nikki. Really appreciate and excited that you enjoyed the film. I think here at Uninterrupted, one of the biggest things that we try and do is find athlete stories, empower them to be able to tell them, and really kind of find them more than an athlete story. And so when we saw the coffee table book that Stan has, I think Phil and I were both super inspired because it exemplified somebody who was certainly more than an athlete and really tapped into culture in a way that somebody who was playing in the 1970s we never thought really could or would. So
Mhm.
I was able to find a way to give Stan a call through a contact of mine, and I said, we would love to tell your story. Would you want to partner with us? And fortunately, he said yes, and we were able to, tell this story and kind of highlight how it transcends sports and it's so much more about
Mhm.
you might know his shoe, but you don't know who he is, or vice versa.
Mhm. And not only, just being such an icon, Stan is, but also I love how the documentary showcased the different times we were in, through the civil rights movement. That in itself is a lot, just to go through, to process, but still be successful as an athlete and still have your own shoe during this time that was not easy.
Yeah, we've compared Stan to Forrest Gump a lot because he, to your point, has just was a part of all these different major moments in history,
Yeah.
both in tennis and in culture. And it's pretty eye-opening when you watch the film, even if my dad actually watched it, who is around Stan's age and remembers all of his victories on the court, but that's all he knew. So for him, everything
Mhm.
with Vietnam and South Africa and the sneaker in general was new news to him.
Yeah.
And then for people who don't even know about his life as an athlete, it's exciting for us to be able to give him that platform. We think this story will really resonate with a wide audience, which is really exciting. So I'm glad that you were entertained.
Now, also, as producers, I know it's a lot of hard work, but when you finally saw it, what were your thoughts? As producers, what was your thoughts when you finally see the finished product?
Yeah, I think for Phil and I, it was a long process in terms of getting to the final product. We got to see
Mhm.
cuts in between and Danny's vision and speaking to him about how he wanted to bring the story to life. And for me, I just had chills because I we were able to pack so much into in a feature documentary that I didn't think we'd be able to. And I think that it
Mhm.
was so seamless the way that Danny was able to highlight the fact that Stan is a family man, a husband, a civil rights activist, a humanitarian, an athlete. And I think that that's the beauty of this film, is
Mhm.
to be able to see Stan on film, how we know him as a person. When I met him, I was totally blown away about how much more he was than we could have ever expected. And I think the film, seeing it on the big screen and just final, like in its final form, um, made me proud of what we were able to accomplish and the fact that Danny was able to put together such a beautiful film.
Yes. Now, Phil, was there any moments that really, you know, was, I would say, that really affected you, because I'm gonna tell you, me watching, I was excited, I had my highs and my lows. I was like, I had so many emotions, especially when it got to the part with him and his friend Arthur Ashe. Was there any, moving moments in the documentary that just really moved you?
I'm a sucker for a rom-com, so I loved his love story with Margie. I mean,
Yeah.
to have her find that note that she wrote to her friend, basically saying that she was crushing on him, but he had other people looking at him, and she wanted to date him, and then to kind of watch that manifest, and
Mhm.
then to see their beautiful family, that was very emotional for me. That was probably my favorite part, and not what I expected. Margie was always on a lot of our Zoom calls at the beginning, and it was clear, of course, they've known each other forever, but we didn't know the intimate details of how they met. And that was probably my favorite part.
Yeah, we got to give a shout out to Margie, his wife. She was right there, right beside him all the time. I love that. And just to see her, in the documentary too, also to help tell the story, that is powerful in itself. So powerful.
Yeah, when we see the footage of her at like Wimbledon, there's like a cutaway of her in the audience kind of clapping, and then you see her today and the fact that she's been through the journey and seen you forget sometimes with these athletes and with these people that they have a family, they have this home life, and Margie's been supportive through the whole journey and had her own experience along the way.
Now, as far as production, were there any challenges or obstacles that you faced during that time of filming?
We were in production in 2021, so we were still dealing with a lot of COVID and
Mhm.
the lockdown rules. So that was tough. Um, I don't know if you're chatting with Danny, our director, or not, but he actually went to the UK for Wimbledon, and I remember, had to stay in his hotel room for 5 days to quarantine, and was sending us videos of him like working
Mhm.
out in the corner of his room, being like, I'm trying to stay sane here. Um, that was pretty tough.
Mhm.
Just the time in the world. That rises to the top. I don't know, Camille, if you have other ones.
I think it affected us all during that
Yeah,
time, and to be filming. Woo, that's a lot. We was just trying to make it.
exactly.
Now, what lessons or insights do you hope, that the audience, people watching, everyone watching, that will take away from this documentary, Who is Stan Smith?
Um, I think that I think Stan is the embodiment of like perseverance, doing the right thing, uh, showing up for people. And I think that when you see his journey, hopefully it impacts you to want to make a difference in your own life
Mhm.
and also in others. And I think that for me is a big key personal takeaway is how do we as a society support one another, uplift each other, and be better together.
Yeah, I mean I agree. It's very, very well said. I'm not going to be what Camille just said.
Yes, I think it's so amazing, and it was so well put together. Like I said, it was a masterpiece to me. I really enjoyed watching and just learning about his story. And like you said, it's more than a shoe, and it told so much within this documentary. And it leaves you with just the sweetness of his family, his wife, and I really enjoyed it. Is there anything, last question. Is there anything I would say that you learned or you grew from while producing this documentary?
I learned a ton because Stan knows this. I didn't know who Stan Smith was as a tennis player. So for me it was Stan Smith 101. I
Mhm.
think Uninterrupted, our brand about athlete empowerment.
Mhm.
Seeing what Stan did around the Wimbledon boycott, I think really rose to the top for us as a company. He was
Mhm.
very ahead of his time. Um, Seeing how outspoken he was around, frankly, the racism with Arthur Ashe, I think was also very ahead of its time.
Yes.
And for someone like Stan who didn't need to do those things, but he did at a time when athletes weren't doing that, says a lot about him. And that's one of the big reasons why we got behind this film and telling his story, because more people need to know that.
Yes, definitely more people need to know. And, I know I was just telling Stan earlier, this is my era. And I know like a lot of rappers and everybody, I'm used to, them shouting out Stan Smith. I'm wearing Stan Smith, so that's what I'm used to. I said I can relate, I remember this everything, and during this time. So, it just really touched me and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tell your friends
Well,
and check it out.
yes, most definitely, most definitely. But I just thank you for taking out the time to talk with me today. Again, congratulations. This is amazing. And I just thank you again for talking with me.
Nice to